I'm a teacher, so I get about 2 months off every summer, but my mom, sister, aunt, and cousin all work regular 9 to 5 jobs with 2 to 3 weeks off a year, so it's really difficult to organize time for trips where we can all go. We managed to schedule a girls' trip to Cabo from June 1st to 9th. Made payments, almost $3,000 a person, several weeks prior to the trip, and we're all very excited to go to Mexico and bond. I'm best friends with my sister and cousin, and my mom and aunt are identical twins, so we're all a very close group. My boyfriend and I have been together for 2 years. His family lives across the country, so I only see them twice a year, and it's usually pretty quick. No real one-on-one bonding with anyone in his family, but we're all definitely friendly with one another. We like each other's posts on FB/IG, send happy birthday wishes, stuff like that. A few days before we left, my boyfriend's mom passed away unexpectedly. I spent days attached to his hip, supporting him, wrote the email to his work explaining what happened, cleaning the apartment, making sure he ate, called his dad and siblings and expressed my condolences, booked his flight, helped him pack, etc. He asked me to go to the funeral with him. I felt so bad telling him no. I hardly knew his mom and feel like I already committed myself to the trip with my family. He was heartbroken and begged me to go with him for support, but I told him that his whole family is there and it's a special time for them all to recount memories of their mother, wife, sister, daughter. He asked if he gave me $1,500, could you go on the trip sometime later? You have 2 more months off. I know you won't get some deposits back, so I'll give you this money. And I honestly felt so bad, but the thing isn't the money, although obviously as a teacher, I'm not swimming in money, but it's about how this is the one time a year that the women I'm closest to can go together. My mom and aunt told me we want you to come with us, but it's ultimately up to you, whereas my cousin and sister were like you should definitely come with us, it'll ruin the trip for us if you're not there, just come, etc. My boyfriend was upset and left mad at me. I called, texted a bunch, but he didn't respond until days later. Anyways, I went to Mexico and came back on the 9th, and things have been weird with us. Sometimes he's really close with me like usual, other times I can tell he's mad I didn't go with him. He said he was not furious at me but just disappointed and sad that I chose to go party instead of being there with him. Says he would have dropped anything for me, keeps emphasizing that I have 2 months of vacation, but he doesn't get that no one else in the group has that kind of vacation time. I really couldn't reschedule. You are the idiot. If I were him, I would seriously reconsider the relationship. Can't imagine starting a family with someone with such poor judgment and low empathy. Says he would have dropped anything for me, keeps emphasizing that I have 2 months of vacation, but he doesn't get that no one else in the group has that kind of vacation time. I really couldn't reschedule. This is the only time in his life he can go to his mom's funeral. You chose a once-a-year fun event, or maybe once in a couple of years, it doesn't matter, over a once-in-a-lifetime tragedy. No idiots here. I'm a firm believer in living your life. It is a funeral. You are there for your partner every day. Yes, his mother is no longer with us. Would she want you to cancel this? Mainstream society makes a ridiculous emphasis on funerals, appearances. Life should be celebrated. Mortals are born with an expiration, some earlier than others. I lost a best friend to a car accident when he was 22. It changed my perceptions on life, funerals, death. Not the idiot, you arranged everything from him so he would be able to go to the funeral without getting fired from his job and be actually able to go, since I'm sure he wasn't in the headspace to book his flight or pack. And why would you miss a chance that rarely comes about to spend time with the women in your life, putting in perspective that you could be in the same situation he's in at any time? I think you made the right decision. I'm sure he's just mad because of all the questions he got about why you weren't there. I hate to say it myself, I do think my daughter is a piece of work. She works but spends her entire salary on cats. Now, it's one thing to love cats, but when she spends almost all of her free time running in the streets feeding stray cats, donating money to shelters and the sick and injured, and occasionally bringing cats home, you would know who pays for her expenses. It's not like we can let her starve at home when she has no money for food. Ironically, she also does not spend a single cent on the cats she adopted. We have 6 cats now already, and I am the one feeding and cleaning after them when my daughter is outside saving the day. I and my partner tried to talk some sense to her several times, but she would get upset and goes on and on about how she found meaning in saving animals and that we should support her if anything. She is 29, turning 30 soon, and she is still living under our roof, with us paying for her expenses. While I have no idea if her life is as meaningful as she claims to be, I discussed with my partner that we have to put this to a stop. We have informed her that she has till October to find some place to rent and then she needs to go. With her salary, she should be able to sustain herself as long as she controls how she spends. When she started to protest about how hard it is to rent a place that allows pets, we dropped the final bomb that the cats stay with us. She could not afford to take care of them all anyway. She had been rather miserable and blamed us for stopping her from saving more cats. She told me stories after stories about this and that cats she rescued and they would die if she does not chip in for their surgeries. I am not having it. She should try to shoulder some real burdens when she is out there alone and paying for her own bills. Though really, if the cats she claims she saved really die, wouldn't she resent us? No idiots here. Your daughter is broken but has a good heart. And around her age, it's more than expected she gets her own place to live. It sounds like she has a twisted view about responsibility. She first has to be able to take care of herself before she can take care of others, and that includes cats. It would be very good for her if she starts to live on her own. She then can take in as many cats as she would like, and no longer burden you with the cost of taking care of them. Cats are lovely, but too much is too much. Not the idiot. If you feed the cats and clean up behind them and she is not doing anything for them, those cats are factually your pets. So I don't see anything wrong in you keeping them. About your daughter, I assume that she is aware of what she is doing and which burden she puts on you. However, it sounds a little bit as if she has developed some sort of mental condition. It could be something like savior syndrome. But this is difficult to judge from here. It just doesn't look like healthy behavior to me. You are the idiot. Your daughter starves herself to feed her pets while working a regular job? There's clearly an underlying issue here that you, as her parent, should have had addressed. It's not uncommon for some children to stay living with their parents. I'm not one to judge that. But a clear obsession with saving strays leads me to believe that you are the idiot for neglecting to treat your daughter. Bring her to a mental health expert. I and my fiancé Elliot have a 7-year-old daughter Lucy. We have been together since school days and are finally marrying in a few weeks, and we are so excited. My parents, however, are very angry at me because I uninvited my cousin Holly, who is 18, because she upset Lucy a few days back. Holly is known in the family as the miracle baby. Her parents struggled to conceive for years and became pregnant very late in life. Unfortunately, this also meant that she could do absolutely no wrong in the eyes of her parents, who are in their late 60s. Our goldfish died last week and Lucy was absolutely devastated. We had a little funeral for him and buried him in the garden, and she has been crying every day. Holly and her parents popped by this weekend, and I warned her that Lucy was very sensitive at the moment and to be gentle with her. What did Holly do? She got her phone out and proceeded to film Lucy, asking her how the fish died, and asking whether we threw him in the bin or flushed him down the toilet. Lucy ran into my room screaming and crying, begging me to make Holly go away. I had a go at both her and her parents, but Holly was unrepentant. She insisted it was just a joke and that she didn't mean anything by it. At lunchtime, she looked directly at Lucy and asked if we were having fish and chips for lunch, which set her off again. This time I told her off for much longer and told her she was being banned from the wedding for being so cruel. This made Holly cry, and she started saying she's got an expensive dress made especially for this wedding and that it wasn't fair to disinvite her for a joke. I told her that I don't want someone who is nasty to children at my wedding. Her parents then tried to convince me to change my mind, but I banned them too and was angry that I told them that just because they found it so difficult to have a baby, doesn't make Holly a princess who gets to do and say whatever she wants. They both got extremely angry at this and left and took Holly with them. My dad has gone mad, saying his sister has been getting at him for how I brought up their upsetting struggles to have a child just because I was angry at their daughter. He said I should at least apologize to them. I do not intend to apologize. Whatever I may have said in the heat of the moment is nothing compared to what they have let their princess get away with. Not the idiot, their child isn't a child anymore. She is a woman but acts like a silly 8-year-old. You told her to be careful because your daughter was in mourning. The first time you told her off she said it was a joke, the second time around wasn't a joke, she was trying to harm your daughter but poking fun at her grief. I would be mad too. I don't think what you said should really matter at their age, plus they had a kid. You are the idiot to her parents for bringing up the conception thing. That was just you being awful, saying the most hurtful thing you could. Their intervening to try to get you to rescind is not unexpected, but Holly is an adult now, so she shouldn't need her parents intervening. She can deal with her problems herself. You're not the idiot for banning Holly, she's awful. She's bullying and cruel to a child, and your child at that, so no, she's not invited until she apologizes. Everyone's the idiot here only in regards to that specific comment, which was a low blow that wasn't directed at the person who is tormenting your daughter. But I don't think you should apologize for this if they don't acknowledge how badly Holly acted. That being said, Holly really awful. I can't stand jokes that are just making someone feel bad. What exactly is funny about making a 7-year-old cry? What is funny about mocking the grief of a child? I must not get the joke. My daughter Molly, 13, plays football, that's English football, soccer by the way, for a team, and they train every Sunday. She has been playing for years but has only been with this team for a few months. Molly loves football and is very talented, and her coach Chelsea is very pleased with her. However, on the team, there are a group of 5 girls who don't like Molly. They all go to the same school and their parents all know each other, and as often happens with teenage girls it gets quite cliquey and territorial. This group sees themselves as the real team and pretty much only works with each other during matches, and they don't support anyone who isn't in their group. Molly has been told by this group that she isn't welcome. The worst of them is a girl called Amy. A talented player but really dislikes Molly for some reason. She has made Molly cry before and has only gotten worse after being told by Chelsea to tone the mean girl stuff down. Today was a big match, and Molly scored what turned out to be the winning goal. What should have been a happy day turned bad when Molly came out of the locker room in tears saying that Amy and her friends had hidden her stuff and that Amy had told her she was useless and only on the team because Chelsea felt sorry for her. Chelsea found the stuff, and had a word with Amy and her mom, saying that any more bullying would result in her being kicked off the team. This made Amy cry, and Amy's mom then had a go at me, saying Molly needs to grow up and accept what she calls typical girls teasing each other. I know the difference between teasing and bullying, and as an adult, she should too. The thing is that if Amy gets kicked out, her gang of bullies will still be there, and I can't imagine it would be much fun for Molly if it was there. Chelsea has said that she'd be willing to kick out Molly's group as well if they cause trouble, as there are enough girls trying to get a place on the team to replace them. But I feel like that would cause problems down the line, especially with the other parents. Molly spent most of the day crying, and due to that, I am thinking of pulling her out of the team. She loves football and is good at it, but if she's leaving something that she's supposed to be having fun in tears, then we have a problem. We can find her another team since there are loads out there. The only problem is that I feel like if I pull her out, she may come out feeling like she was the problem and that she's being punished even though she's the victim, especially since Chelsea is willing to deal with the bullies once and for all, so it feels like we are letting them and their parents win. Molly does have friends on the team and would miss them if she's made to leave by me. You would be the idiot. If she wants to leave the team, then let her, but do not pull her out when she doesn't want to leave. She will take that exactly as you said, as if she's being punished. On top of that, it'll teach these girls that they can behave like this and win. If I were her, I'd get all the girls kicked off the team for being horrible bullies. Good riddance. She has the opportunity to do that, so don't force her to just run away. Not the idiot, hear me out. As a guy that played basketball, the same thing happened, but I just stopped playing it as much. If you take her out, get her on a trivial team or club, and tell her straight up the girls were idiots. If you tell her straight up, she'll know that she isn't the problem. I get if you didn't raise her to think other people can be idiots, but telling her this would mean a lot to her. You are the idiot because your daughter wants to stay. Making her leave would be encouraging her to accommodate bullies, and she would be right. It wouldn't be fair that she would be punished, taken off the team, for Amy's bad behavior. Stick it out. Bullying is awful and really hard to watch your child go through, but she has to make her own choices and she'll be stronger for sticking it out. My Newborns Pediatrician is always so crowded in terms of the size of the waiting room versus the number of people waiting. It requires a certain amount of etiquette controlling your kid because there are no toys, no play area, no real space for shenanigans. Enter lady with 4 kids, a newborn, 2 toddlers, and a kindergarten-aged kid, the little girl in question here. She really should have brought an iPad or a second adult or something because her kids were literally running around this tiny space, yelling and screeching. The mom was oblivious to all of her kids except the newborn, who was quietly breastfeeding while mom was glued to her phone screen. Accordingly, other people were put in the awkward position of having to discipline her kids. Several people had previously tried to put her kids back in line for whatever issue, harassing their kids, being loud, whatever. Her kindergarten-aged daughter, who clearly had some kind of special needs, was absolutely enamored with my newborn and his stroller. She was asking me if she could push it around. No, she was getting super close to my newborn, stop, and was generally just being annoying. At one point when I wasn't looking and was preoccupied with my own kid, she went digging in my diaper bag and throwing my stuff onto the chair and the floor. My newborn was really fussy because we were there for a sick visit and he wasn't feeling well, and I did not feel like entertaining some strange kid. I tried being polite about it. Sweetie, where's your mommy? Points to mom, ma'am. Points to kid. The lady would call her kid back, but the kid just kept coming back to me. Rinse and repeat. I told her she needed to stay with her mom. The little annoying girl says I don't want to and keeps trying to touch my son, my stroller, our stuff. Finally, I'm trying to fix a bottle of formula while holding a screaming baby and listening to this little girl like a broken record. Why is your baby crying? Why is your baby crying? Make him stop. I don't like that, and she and her annoying self knocks my bottle of formula off the table and into my stroller. So now I'm out formula, the kid's still screaming, and I have a huge mess that I don't have a great way to clean up. I'm at my wit's end. I raise my voice at this kid. Look what you did. I am not your mom, I am not your babysitter. You are bothering me. Get out of my face. People looked at me like I was the biggest idiot on earth. A lady speaking Spanish actually did call me an idiot. The little girl starts crying. I'm not apologizing. The mom confronts me. I tell her she should have been watching her kid, and that's the hill I'm prepared to die on. Not the idiot. While you could have handled the situation better, the difference between how you handle an annoying kid versus an annoying adult is thus. You immediately or quickly yell at the adult. For a kid, you are polite, then get their guardian, and if their guardian doesn't discipline them, you try to gently discipline them, but it gets to a point when you have no choice but to yell at them. You didn't curse or use overly offensive language, so I fail to see the problem. You can't be accepted to sit there while being tormented by a kid. Everyone's the idiot here. The mother is definitely an idiot. She clearly had no interest in actively parenting her kid at that moment. It wasn't acceptable for her to let her child bother others, period. Still, you screamed in a small child's face. You mentioned this child has special needs. Crying babies will fray every nerve, I get that, and this kid exacerbated the frustration by a ton. Not the kid's fault, however. If you insisted on getting loud with someone, why didn't you direct it to the mother? You are the idiot. Understandable that you were mad at the kid, but you are the adult and need to keep your temper. Kids don't get nuance. When you say you need to stay with mom, they think you're giving them safety tips, not indicating you don't want them. Next time try I'm busy. Go away please. In an even tone, and if that doesn't work, tell the mom that the kid is being a nuisance, not the kid.